Hi and welcome to Coda Piano. My name's Mark Deeks and I'm going to be showing you some more beginner finger exercises today on the piano. Hopefully you've had a go at the starter ones that we've already done and you're feeling a little bit more confident about the fingers working independently on the piano. What I'm going to show you now is how to move around a bit of a bigger area of the piano. All the exercises I've shown you so far have been fixed in one 5-note area of the piano. Now I'm going to show you how to stretch a little bit around a bigger area. The main thing that we're going to look at here is taking advantage of how the thumb on your hand is sideways to the rest of your hand. If you were to put your hand out in front of you like that, and without moving your wrist or your arm, just moving your thumb, it's possible to touch the underneath the bottom of every one of your fingers. You might never have thought that was particularly important before, but for piano playing it is, because when we're moving around the piano, we bring our thumb underneath fingers to move ourselves to different areas of the piano, or alternatively move fingers over the top of the thumb. And to do that, we're just using the hand like that and the fingers. It's not a wrist thing. We're not using our arm to do it, because sometimes you see people trying to play the first keyboard tunes that they're having a go at, and they're doing all this kind of stuff, and fingers are coming over the top and tipping you over and all this kind of stuff. It's bad technique. You want to try and keep your hand flat and straight as much as possible. It's a sideways movement around the piano. It's like a scuttle across the keys rather than some kind of looping motion. So in order to get used to the beginnings of this, what I'd like you to do is get your hand in the position that you had it in if you had to go at the starter exercises, with your right hand thumb on a C. Play the first 3 notes, C, D, E, and when your third finger's on that E, hold on to that note, don't leave go, and just see what it feels like to move your thumb underneath. Can you see that? Moving your thumb underneath that E without leaving go. I've still got a hold of that note. Thumb comes underneath onto the F, and as soon as my thumb hits that F, the rest of my hand is going to spring into the new shape. I'll show you that again. C, D, E, bring the thumb underneath, and as soon as it hits the note, the rest of the hand goes into shape. It's very important that the whole hand moves as one shape, not a finger move at each time, because that makes it 5 movements. And one of the basic principles of having a successful move around the piano is to minimize the number of moves that you have so that your hand can move in a shape rather than one finger at a time. So I don't want this. One finger at a time. That's too many movements. As soon as my thumb hits that F, the whole of the rest of the hand goes into shape. Because what I want to do is keep coming up the keyboard until my little finger lands on the next C. And I play what's called a 1-octave C major scale. If that's some terminology that you're not familiar with, you might want to have a look up at those words perhaps on the internet or in a dictionary. A scale is where we play all of the notes from a key, one after another. There'll be more of that in some of the other beginner lessons. So, whilst holding onto the note, the thumb comes underneath and the rest of my hand springs into shape. The reason that it's important it goes in one shape is because the next note in a piece of music might be the top C, or it might be a note a mile away. Because of course pieces of music don't always just go to the next note all the time. And if we just did it one finger move at once, then it would be a lot of moves before I could spring with the little finger or the 4th finger or whatever I need in that particular tune. So we're going to get used to it by playing a scale. But it's important that the whole hand goes in one shape, so that when you play more advanced pieces of music, you can get whatever note it is with whichever finger it is next. So that's doing it from the middle finger, which is probably the most common in piano playing, to bring a thumb underneath a middle finger note to get to a different area of the piano. So maybe pause the video and have a go at that until you get to the next C. And when you think you're ready, practice coming down again. When you come down to the same technique but in reverse, holding onto the note with your thumb, in a sideways motion, the fingers come across the top. And if you notice, my thumb kind of comes around in a little semicircle off the keys. Once I land on my thumb, the hand comes across the top with my middle finger, so the same fingers I used on the way up, and as soon as it hits, the rest of the hand goes into shape. Again, a sideways motion, the hand stays flat, there's no twist involved. So same fingers going up as it is coming down. And it's tradition in music that we only play the top note of a scale once and come back down. One more thing. That's how to do it from the middle finger, but we also sometimes do it from the fourth finger. So what I want you to do is stop on that B with your fourth finger and do the same thing as before. And then again. What happens there is we've got a 2-octave scale. We've gone from C to C to C, and that's called 2 octaves. And what's happening when we play scales on piano usually, and this is by far the most common fingering pattern, is you do one change from your middle finger, then one change from your fourth finger, then one change from your middle finger, one change from your fourth finger. They alternate. And that way I can go as many octaves as I've got room for on the piano. I can keep going if I wanted to. And suddenly this opens up the piano. Suddenly you can play a much bigger range from the middle finger, from the fourth finger. So it's group of 3, group of 4, group of 3, group of 4. So like I say, it's a little bit tricky from the fourth finger, but keep your hand flat, bring the thumb right underneath, spring with the rest of the hand. And when you want to finish, little finger, and then back down. From the thumb 3 over, from the thumb 4 over, from the thumb 3 over. Okay, I don't expect that you can do that immediately, so you might want to pause the video, have a practice. But that is the beginner way to how to get around the keyboard and a much bigger range. My name's Mark Deeks. Thanks for visiting Coda Piano. Good luck.